we've got a really special relationship with the Circle G. You spent some time there.
Oh yeah,
How
lots
do you
of time.
remember it?
I had fun there.
Sure.
It was a fun, happy place, peaceful place, quiet, not a lot of fans and stuff. I spent a lot of time there with Uncle Travis.
Yeah, your friend.
Yeah, my buddy. I had received a phone call from somebody in Elvis's group that said Elvis was getting married that weekend, but that's all they could tell me. So I flew down to Memphis because Elvis had always said he's going to get married to Graceland. So I flew down to Memphis, and he was out of town. He's in California. I said, well, he could fly in at any time. So I got together, went down with Uncle Travis. I was down there with him and messing out the ranch and driving around, goofing off, and then I go up and visit Uncle Vester for a while at the house, and Mr. Stoll in the evening, or Harold, or whoever. And then finally, Friday came, Saturday came, Sunday came. He still hadn't gotten married. So Monday morning, which was the first, I went down to the Circle G, and Uncle Travis was on. And Uncle Travis says, you know what today is, don't you? I said, yeah, May 1st. He said, this is the day Elvis getting married. I said, is he really going to get married? Because I thought it was this weekend. He said, yeah, but it's today. And I said, are you sure? He says, yeah, they're in Las Vegas, you know. And so I said, well, how do you know? And he said, well, Billy called me, but I'm not supposed to tell anybody. I said, well, I won't say nothing. But I went up to Graceland. I left there and went to Graceland. Said to Uncle Vester, well, Uncle Vester, you better be ready for a bunch of people today. We'd have the press here and everything. And he says, why? I said, well, Elvis is getting married today. He is not. I said, he and Priscilla are getting married in Las Vegas. He said, no, that he is not. I would know. He said, Patsy would let me know. Patsy would tell me, because Patsy and Elvis are close. And he said, he would tell his daddy, and he would tell Grandma. He would tell Mama. And I says, well, where is his daddy? So, I don't know. I haven't seen him for a couple of days. I said, he's in Las Vegas, because Elvis will get married. He said, no, he's not. He got mad at me. So I went back down to the ranch with Uncle Travis, where it was safer. And we're talking, and there was another girl there from Colorado. Her name was Carolyn Knight, and she was moving to Memphis because she's a big Elvis fan. And we were with Uncle Travis in his red round Cheryl that Elvis had bought him when he bought all those trucks for the Circle G. So we were down this little grocery store down the street, just a little hole in the wall, and got something, and something to drink, and we were sitting there, and we were right at the Circle G. They used to have a little bitty guard shack. When you first turn in, it's on the right, but they moved it to the left. And we pulled in there and pulled past the guard shack, and we're just sitting there, like looking out into the ranch beside the little house. And there, we're listening to WHBQ, which were George Klein was always on. And all of a sudden, George Klein comes on. He says, well, folks, he did it. He said, Elvis just married Priscilla in Las Vegas. He got married at the Aladdin Hotel, and pronounced man and wife at 9:51 Las Vegas time, which meant it would be 10:51 Memphis time. And he said, they're now man and wife. And he said, I'm going to play this song and dedicate to him. And he played Happy Day by the Turtles. And Carolyn starts crying, and I start crying. Uncle Travis says, see, I knew you girls just wanting for this. I said, no, I'm thrilled. I said, I'm happy that he's married. And Carolyn said, I'm not. And in fact, a couple days later, she decided to move back to Colorado. So we race back up to Graceland, and for some reason they hadn't heard yet. So we come in, and I said, well, Vester, what do you think? And he said, well, what do you think? You didn't get? I said, yes, he did get married. I said, it was on the radio. He says, no, it wasn't. Well, then the phone rang from the house, and Uncle Vester picks up the phone, and I hear this horrible wailing noise. I don't know what it was, like somebody screaming and crying, and I thought, what in the world? And he said, wait a minute, I can't understand you. Calm down. What's wrong? What's wrong? And finally, he says, Cricket, he said, would you watch the gate? Because he said, something's wrong with Mama, and I got to get up to the house. So he went up to the house, and he was up there for a long time. But before he came back down, there's newspaper reporters and people, AP and UPI, and all these people at the gate. We need a comment. I said, well, Elvis's uncle's working the gate today. He'll be back down in a few minutes. I said, I can't say anything. I'm a friend. I'm just here watching the gate. Then Uncle Vester comes back down. He comes in that door and shuts the door. What's those people? I said, that's the press. I said, what's going on? He says, Mama. He says, Vernon called and told her that Elvis got married. I said, I told you. And he said, well, I don't know how you knew before. I said, well, that doesn't matter. I said, is she okay? He says, no. She's in hysterics. He said, she's so upset because Elvis didn't tell her. First of all, he didn't tell himself, and he promised her she'd be at his wedding. He's getting married to Grayson. And he said, she is very upset. So then the phone rings again, and I think it was Aunt Delta. And evidently Elvis had called back when Vernon had told him that she was so upset and had talked to her and calmed her down some. And he promised her that they would be back to Memphis soon and they would have another wedding reception and she would be there. But when they came back, they stayed there that first night. Then they went down to the ranch where they had a mobile home that was parked behind the little house. And Grandma stayed in the house and Priscilla and Elvis stayed in the mobile home, and then the guys had all theirs. So they spent the rest of their honeymoon down there at the ranch. But I spent so many wonderful time down there with Uncle Travis and Uncle. They'd all come down there and go fishing when they weren't working, you know. And they all had their favorite spot where they'd fish, and I'd go by Uncle Travis's house, and Aunt Lorraine would give me his lunch, and I'd take it down to him, and we'd have lunch, you know. And she usually put an extra sandwich of peanut butter and jelly or tuna fish.